These are all my books. See the books. Behold the shelf that holds my books. I don't know why I went full pirate there. These are all books that I published over time. And don't worry, this is going somewhere. And also, I'll talk about this on Monday. If you notice what's going on behind me, it'll happen on Monday. I was going to walk you through this one at a time on the shelf. But then my camera died, and so I'm not sure that that's the best way to do it anyways. Let's break it down. This is the first trilogy. This is the first trilogy that I ever wrote, science fiction and fantasy, and this book, I started writing, it was in my head for a long time. It has a lot of influences from like Final Fantasy and The Lord of the Rings and all kinds of things that, I was reading and playing as a kid. I'm still pretty proud of it, but it's pretty garbage. This whole trilogy was released while I was in mercy ships, while I was volunteering in West and Central Africa. I was writing these. I don't even know how I found the time or energy to write these books, but I did, and I'm proud of that. I don't want you to read them because they need to be redone pretty badly, which is why we've unpublished them. But there are core concepts, elements, and characters within these stories that are definitely going to be resurfacing in the future. It's funny because apparently somebody found a copy of this that had been signed on the ship somewhere in Australia. I don't remember where, but this is my copy, and it's signed by all the people that either worked on the book, Marjolein, the cover artist, or the people that were at the launch party in Sierra Leone. And the reason that I'm talking about my books today is because I'm adding another book to the list, right? All these books exist within the same universe. So they're all science fiction and fantasy novels of varying lengths. This is a trilogy, this is a standalone, this is a standalone. But this one ties into this one. Let me explain a little bit. Ooh. So all these books exist within the same universe. They're all stories that I wrote going back a decade now, and they tie into my life in different ways. But the book that I'm releasing, or that I'm about to release, Sea of the Unknown, is the first time I've ever written something that was nonfiction and about myself, which is a little bit disconcerting. Almost as disconcerting as how crazy my beard is getting in quarantine, which I've been thinking about toning down a little bit, and I'm increasingly tempted to do so. But all of these books have been unpublished, and for good reason, because like I was saying before, hopefully my camera keeps cutting out, so I'm not sure if I actually said it on camera successfully. These books have a lot of really great elements that I want to make sure that I keep because they're very important to like the underlying structure of my universe. But they're also garbage. Like they're books that I wrote when I thought that the first book that I wrote would be a masterpiece, and I was wrong about that. Very, very wrong. Yeah. I had a lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn and a long ways to go. And the sun is about to start creeping in over my face. So enjoy watching that blind me. But in this book about my life, I also wrote about my books. These books that have popped out at one point or another, the chronology of them. And I thought that I would let you see them in person. So if you've already read the book, here's a little bit of a preview of what it is you also can't read. And if you haven't bought the book yet, or if you wanted to get a paperback, now is the last opportunity to do so because I'm about to order the only print run that we're going to be ordering. And there's a chance that we'll do some print on demand later, which would make shipping cheaper internationally for some of you if you want to wait for that. But also no guarantees on when that's going to happen because I kind of want to make sure, especially the Kickstarter backers and the people that jump on this run, get it and get it in a special kind of way. And since I can't sign them or do any of the other special things I was going to do for it, exclusivity is going to be the special deal. So this is kind of your last chance. But this is the fourth book that I wrote, Dark Horse. This is not the final cover art, which you'll see if you go and you look at the cover art online, because that's still available. The text got much bigger. Oh my gosh. The sun in the morning, it just had to happen right when I would have had this finished before the sun hit me if my camera wouldn't have kept crapping out on me. Thanks, camera. Then, let's double check that this is still recording. Speaking of which, I can angle over here so that I'm not getting blinded. These 4 books were all written while I was on the ship. At various points. I released this one in Sierra Leone, this one in Togo, and this one I think I released while I was actually in Paris for the first time working for Mercy Ships. And then this one I finished while I was in the Congo and started working on getting ready to release when I got back to the United States. When I got back to the United States, the inspiration for Into the Nanton hit with a little bit of my time in Congo, a book that I was reading about the Congo that was recommended to me by a guy that I met in the Congo. And it's very much the story of, me overcoming a lot of my own preconceived notions and misconceptions of the world and how it functions. And there's a little bit of a self-righteous version of me that had to die. And it's still probably dying in there somewhere. I'm sure it's still hanging on. But this story is a little bit about that. Masked in, monsters and running from cannibals and, one of the world's foremost swordsmen being exiled into the world's most hostile jungle in my world. As that was coming to a close, I wrote this book, Shadows of the High Rage, which details a little bit of the earlier life of that guy's teacher. The guy that he hates, that he's off into the jungle to find. And it's kind of like if you took the movie Tremors and put it in a medieval farm village, or I guess just a collection of farms. Yeah, that's what this book is basically. This is the second season of Into the Nanton, which was the result of a successful Kickstarter. And that Kickstarter, along with other Kickstarters that I've run, many of which that have failed, was thankfully a success. And it resulted in this book being possible and being made. Unfortunately, the third book in the series didn't succeed. And when I went to write this other trilogy, the Courier's Trilogy, I did so for a publisher, and as you'll read in the book, things might not have gone quite the way that I hoped they would go, but it still made it into the world eventually, thanks to Kickstarter backers like you. And that's basically the backlog, and thankfully it looks like we're still recording. So this pile of books is the existing pile of books, of my books that I've written over the course of the last 9 years. I've got a couple other fantasy and science fiction books that I have written, or that I've drafted. I think 2 or 3 other ones that simply aren't going to see the light of day anytime soon. Jeff's going to kill me for that because Agnar's Box is what he's been wanting to read for a long time. But I am adding one more book to this pile, and it is my first nonfiction book. And that's kind of the whole point of this video, which I'm, trying to be not too shameless, but it's time to be shameless about. Please go buy a copy of my book. I'd like to sell, we're going to do a print run. I haven't actually looked at the statistics, but we're going to be doing a print run of probably about 400 books at this point, which is really cool. And I was hoping originally to do about 500, but it doesn't really matter in that sense. I know I'm undercutting my, emphasis right now, the impetus at the moment, but I feel like I need to say I'm going to be fine either way. However, that was kind of like the personal goal that I had, but what's been really cool is to see the responses that I've gotten already to the ebook people have been reading, which has been great. It's been really nice to hear feedback and really nice to hear your thoughts. I've gotten some really nice emails, seen some reviews come through, and just generally, I don't know, it makes me feel like it was worth writing. Now, about that book specifically, it goes back to all the way to the recession, which is a good place to start considering how the world is going right now, and my experience in losing my job, bouncing around between a bunch of temporary jobs that I generally hated. That's actually kind of a theme through the book, is I ended up working a lot of jobs that I was grateful to have, but hated over the course of a number of years. And that struggle to try and find my way towards being, basically where I'm at now, where I have the very good fortune being able to make videos for a living and write books for a living. And that's all I ever really wanted, was to be able to be my own boss and be a professional creative more than anything. And writing the book and then reviewing it has been kind of an exercise in going back and seeing but how did that happen? Where along the line did that really happen? Because it kind of happened without me realizing it, because I was so deep in survival mode that it took a couple years for me to realize, I think I'm going to be okay. And now with the way that the world is going, we're back to being a little bit uncertain of all of these things. But I guess I take some personal comfort in going back and reviewing everything that I went through, because I learned a lot about myself, and I learned to better love myself, and also to see that, okay, I made it through all that, and I wouldn't want to do it again. And I learned a lot, and I grew a lot. And if I have to go through it again, I know I can make it. And I hope that it provides a little bit of comfort and some insight for others in that way too. And, if it doesn't, that's fine. It doesn't have to. But my hope is that there's a little bit of inspiration in there, a little nugget for you that might help in the midst of all of this craziness and uncertainty. And I think that code for a free ebook is still good, which I'll put below one more time. And if it's not, I'll double check online. So I'll make sure that it's good for one more week. I'm going to extend it for another week. And I'm going to be accepting orders for the paperback for one more week. So sometime in the middle of next week, whenever it is that I've finished talking with the printer, because that process is probably going to take a little while, you'll just see the button disappear off the website. I'm not going to give a particular day because I don't know for sure when that's going to happen, but it's going to happen in the next week. So if you'd like to grab a paperback, please make sure to do so ASAP. If you can afford to buy that, or if you can afford to buy an ebook, I would love it if you bought a copy. If you can't afford to buy an ebook, but you'd really like to read it, I'm going to put that free code down below for an ebook, because I don't want money to be the reason that people can't read it, especially given the circumstances going on right now. And like I said in the video when I announced that we were launching it, that's really important to me that, especially right now, the people, I feel like anybody that's going through those times right now are exactly the people that I wrote the book for, ultimately, which hopefully you like it. And if not, it didn't cost anything. Anyways, that's that. I've once again passed the 10-minute mark on the video to make sure that you actually see it. And I hope that you'll grab a copy of the book. I hope that you enjoy it. And of course, if you did enjoy it, you'd be doing me a huge favor if you left an honest review on Amazon or Goodreads, where you can buy the ebook on Amazon now as well if you prefer. But that goes a long way. If you enjoyed the book, please do. If you didn't enjoy the book too, that's fine. You can leave a review as long as it's honest. And ideally, you say specifically why you didn't like it so that somebody else who might be tempted to pick it up and wouldn't like it for the same reasons can save themselves the time and money. That's fine too. So anywhere from 1 to 5-star reviews are all welcome, and I really appreciate them. And otherwise, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'll be telling you more about this whole setup that I built yesterday. I spent all day yesterday putting this together, and I've got a few more tweaks to make to it, but that's coming on Monday's video, so hopefully you're looking forward to that. And of course, if you're seeing this sometime in the future and it's too late to grab a paperback, I'm sorry, but you can still grab an ebook from the same link below off my website. I'd love it if you read the book. I hope you enjoy it. And in the meantime, I will see you bright and early again Monday morning, and maybe even another one of these Tuesdays soon for some more French slang or whatever, stuff. See you for that.